Hi, we're going to be looking at issues related to building a research career. I've popped up two questions, should be over there. So have a look at them, and we're going to be looking at answering those over the next few slides. So what does a CV look like for a career researcher? And so what we have here are the citation indices taken from Google of a very successful researcher. And as we can see, during the last 5 years, there's been a tremendous increase in the number of citations. And that's not too surprising for someone who's been researching for that long. But let's look at the first 10 years where the growth is relatively small, and which sort of indicates that in the early stages of building a research career, even if you're going to be extremely successful, it takes quite a bit of time to sort of build up the volume of research, build up the networks of research, build up the activity, and build up the high quality papers that then get cited by others in your academic area. The type of things you need to be doing, of course, are all listed over there, of course. Articles, conferences, grants, working with end users. And once you finish your PhD, the growth in the number of research networks you'll be involved with will increase, or certainly could increase if you're sufficiently motivated to. Okay, if we take the point from the previous slide that expectations of the rate of progress should be realistic, let's compare two people who are both keen researchers but have a different approach to how they get started in the early years. Person X chooses to conduct research in their favourite subjects and is really focused on that. But it's very difficult to do the research on your own, so that they plug away and they get a series of publications in relatively low impact journals. By contrast, Person Y does have a favourite subject, but works more instrumentally in the first few years and works with a couple of senior people who help guide them in the early stages of the research or game, I'm afraid it is, of publishing in reasonably good journals. And that person publishes several articles in the first 3 or 4 years as a contributor and second or third author. By the third year, they're both publishing on their favourite topic, but Person Y is publishing in a much higher impact journal. And so both have moved their careers forwards, and arguably Person X has worked much harder and probably has gained greater satisfaction because they've done a large part on their own. However, the sort of institutional support that is likely to come in terms of how the person might see the work is valued is going to be much greater for Person Y, who's likely to be included in the Research Excellence Framework, whereas Person X is unlikely to be included, partly because they haven't got enough papers, but the low impact ones might also be an issue. And that low impact rating from some committee which judges their hard work would probably go down really, really harshly with the person, and doesn't actually acknowledge their hard work and huge efforts they've made and successes, because they have worked hard in what's a very difficult area. But it's just an example of how people can get on relatively quickly using the resources in terms of experience from people in their groups. Okay, I've talked about the relative difficulty of the goals and the importance of setting realistic ones. I've talked about how different people can make progress on their research and how they might have to compromise some of their interest. I guess the key point to what's been said over the previous slide is in the point that's right below me, and that's about being clear about what you're trying to achieve and setting goals that actually motivate you and are not daunted by their difficulty. Let's just have a little bit more on resources, because another approach is to work on projects where there are already resources, such as maybe PhD students, postdoctoral researchers, or members of staff who are conducting research in the area who are well connected to people outside, such as the visiting professors, such as other researchers at other institutions, but have access to expertise and who might also have access to PhD students, and lots of resources that are worth getting involved with. And our recent emotion regulation project is an example of that. But we've got other projects that are coming in. We have a project on pain that's about to start in the new year. 2014 or late 2013. There are projects that could be getting funding regarding looking at increasing activity in sport in the Black Country that the sport department are leading on. So, and anyone interested in those big, broad areas could look to get involved and work with the people who are doing the projects around that, and see how your interests can dovetail to the projects that are already going on. So, in summary, get some realistic goals. Consider making best use of the resources that are available. Ultimately, when you're an experienced researcher or a very capable researcher, and that might well be in the early stages, you'll be able to go and get a large research grant and be able to fund your own interests and have your own research teams that really pursue your favourite topic, and you convince people to sort of join that line of research. The realistic aspect to that is that it's probably better to work with other people in the early stages until your research and skills are sufficiently developed so that you can go it on your own.